there's some Revelator songs that I'm like, man, we got to bring those back. But we've done so many songs and albums. There's like so much to choose from that I guess we don't think about it all the time.
We need to get you a really good slide player in Nashville, and you guys need to cover a Derek Truck song.
You know, he told me Susan wrote the song, which he was proud of. He said that with great pride, you know, the way you say nice things about your family.
From the first note with Tedeschi trucks, they just blow you away.
Yes, we will. I wouldn't argue with anyone that says that could be my favorite song on I Am the Moon.
He, signs my ticket, and I look over at Susan. I say, Susan, would you sign it too? And she goes, oh, heck yeah.
Kevin calls me and was like, hey, man, what are you doing? I was like, nothing. He was like, Derek wants to record some tuba stuff. I said, when do you want to do it? And he was like, let's do it Wednesday.
It was Midnight Harlem. And it caught our attention, man. And we started diving deep, and we're like, okay, we got to see these guys.
What's up? Welcome to the unofficial Tedeschi Trucks podcast. This is episode number 156, and I am Adam Choit. To follow the show, it's at Tedeschi Trucks Podcast on Instagram. And on YouTube, just search Tedeschi Trucks Podcast. If you're watching, you are already there, so please be sure to subscribe, give the show likes, shares, comments. All that stuff is appreciated. I got that pretty much on autopilot now. I'm at Adam Choit on Instagram and Twitter. If you'd like to follow me on there, please subscribe on whatever platform you listen to podcasts on as well. I'll put out an audio episode as well, of course, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. I don't know how else. Is there another? Did I miss any of them? Is that pretty much where everyone listens to podcasts? TedeschiTrucksPodcast.com will give you all the links to everything related to the show. Social media, ways to watch and listen, latest episodes, AdamChoit.com for all my personal stuff. Let's get into this one because we have a couple of shows here before I get to see the band this weekend in LA, San Diego, and then in LA again Sunday. But before that, the band made a stop in Reno, Nevada, and Santa Barbara at the Santa Barbara Bowl. And we have Paige Elder returning to talk about the Reno show, and we have Mary Howland, a newcomer to the show, to talk about the Santa Barbara show, and I'm sure we'll jump around. And I was at I've been to Santa Barbara Bowl, so even though I wasn't at the show last night, I do have some frame of reference. So let's get into it. Here's Paige and newcomer Mary. What's up, y'all?
Hi.
We're here. Thank you for returning, and thank you for joining, Mary. Mary, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Oh, good. Thank you again. And where are you?
I am in Inglewood, so
Gotcha.
Los Angeles.
You're just on the other side of the hill we were talking about before, how it's a little warmer here in the valley than it is on closer to the west side on the other side of the hill. And what about you, Paige? You're at home. You're just in a different room.
Still in Lake Tahoe, different room. Moved to the bedroom this time.
You know what I've gotten because I've had multiple guests on this podcast. I have gotten semi tours of their homes, and depending on the kids, the dog, the noise, let's change it up. Where's messier? We end up jumping from room to room. But I can see how everyone's got such cool spaces with the music posters and their artwork. I would like to make like a collage eventually of everyone's posters or something. Would be cool to organize. Like, I don't know. I just want to see all the TTB posters in one space. There needs to be a Swamp Family Museum Hall of Fame eventually, something like that. I hope their archives are well organized, but I'm sure they must have storage and closets of stuff, but that stuff should be displayed, especially the artwork. Like, music you can listen to digitally, but like posters are meant to be. I think posters are kind of meant to be seen in person and close, and to see all the detail and stuff like that.
So I actually bought my first poster ever of any show last night at Santa.
Wow. See, I knew they were going to say that. That's why I went into that rant about posters out of nowhere.
I'm not a poster person. I like to be free of any constraints when I'm at a show, so I can jump around and move around and possibly end up, where I'm not supposed to be, which happens. But the poster was so beautiful last night, and they still had some when I showed up, so I went for it.
Yeah, that I'm
And
sharing.
so then I couldn't move around too much and like squeeze up front the way I usually do.
Yeah, I saw that. It was beautiful.
I love it.
Was there a foil option as well? I know people
There
get
was,
into the
yeah.
foil.
I chose this one. I mean, the foil was gorgeous, but I love these colors, and yeah, it was just perfect. So
and there's a lot going on here with the sun and the eye, and which is kind of like, I guess, the moon. It's a moon. I don't know. I'm going to be processing this. I haven't looked deeply and closely at this post yet. I'm going to be processing this.
I think it's super psychedelic. I think like it looks like waves, ocean waves, and then the man of the sea.
A lot of posters they have psychedelic, but this one in particular, I think to some degree will require or does require use of additional psychedelic substances to fully comprehend or understand on a deeper level what exactly is going on in this poster.
I didn't even see the moon in the eye at first. I thought it was a chicken head.
Right. No, there's a lot going on in there.
And homage to the little feet in the chicken, the Dixie chicken.
Oh, right.
Maybe that's the thing. Like, there's so many meanings and layers to just this band, and as we follow this band, like even in just hearing teases that Derek might play, there's always like you can always appreciate and learn more about this, the music and the context for all the music that they're playing. Mary, I want a little bit about before we get into the shows, a little bit about your like TTB origin story and how you discovered Susan and Derek and your musical journey, background, all that.
I love talking about that, so thank you for asking. I grew up in the Boston area and started falling in love with music at a very young age, even though my family was not a musical family at all. My first concert at 11, and 1990, I just randomly went to Great Woods with a bunch of friends to go see the Allman Brothers one summer night. And that was it. I fell in love and saw them every single time they came through the New England area after that. I discovered Susan in the clubs of Boston in the 90s, right before she went down to Nashville. So I got to see her a couple times at Harper's Ferry, which was like my stomping grounds in Boston. And then I think it was 97, and I'm not good with dates or even years sometimes, but I think it was 97 the first time I saw Derek Trucks with Derek Trucks Band in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Fell in love with his playing. And then obviously when he joined the Allman Brothers, it just made it even better. And then with Warren coming back, even better. So I saw the Derek Trucks Band as much as I could back in the day. And I moved out to California in 2007 and said, whoops, the Allman Brothers don't come out here. So I need to plan my family trips around the Allman Brothers schedule back in Boston, which I did every year. But did get to see them in 2009 here at the Greek Theater. It was my first time at the Greek in LA. Was for the Allman Brothers. They did 2 shows in 2009. And then obviously with Tedeschi Trucks, starting, I just tried to see them as much as I could as well. I kind of lost count with how many shows I've seen for them now, but it's like it's not a lot, but it's like low 20s. So it's like, I'm doing okay. Nowhere close to a lot of people, but in the last few years, I've done a lot of traveling to see them. So I went to New York earlier this year for the Beacon, one show. Last year went to Red Rocks, this year going to Red Rocks. And even 2001, I went back to Boston and caught their New Hampshire show with that small, like it was like the Fireside Sessions little mini tour kind of, where it wasn't the full band. So that was really cool. But yeah, last night was my first of 4 nights for the California shows. So
nice. I appreciate you sharing that journey. And of course, we know California, not just with the Allman Brothers and with Tedeschi Trucks, tends to get the short end of the stick. Obviously, it's just, you get less bang for your buck, I guess, as a touring musician or a band, like traveling far distances and far out past in the Pacific and all that. So we get that, but it's really cool that you've had these deep roots with Susan and even Derek and Derek Trucks band and all this. Like, I don't know, I randomly reach out to people, and I have no idea how long they've been a fan, what their level of fandom is. But if you're in like the fan group and you're posting pictures or something like that, you're probably pretty hardcore. And there's something about the Tedeschi Trucks band fan, when you see the passion, regardless of how long they've been a fan, you know that there's some level of musical education, I guess, or just, you know, you have good taste. I mean, maybe it's a more blunt way to put it. I know, and if you have good taste in music and you love this band, you probably can talk about them with some level of articulation and passion. So like, it's so cool for me to hear all that. That's awesome. Like that you went back that far back with Susan. I have a question for you about Susan, because how long was she in Nashville for? So she started in Boston, then she went to Nashville was for some period of time.
I don't know much about that. I know that's where she cut her first record. So I don't know if she was actually living there or if that's just where she recorded it. I wasn't like hardcore following her back in the day. It was just like, oh, wow, this cool blues woman is blowing up in the Boston area, you know, and I just happened to be able to see her a couple of times, but I wasn't really following her.
Right. So you weren't like close or friends or even okay. Yeah. Because in my head, whenever someone tells me, oh, I'm from Boston, I've been seeing Susan since the 90s, I'm like, oh, you guys are best friends now. And you guys see each other everywhere, shows away. But Boston is a big city. And Susan Tedeschi has a lot of fans.
Yeah, yes, she does. I mean, it's definitely a pretty close-knit music scene, or at least, I mean, back then, I don't know what it is now, but back in the 90s, at least the scene that we were all in, you know, sort of jam bandy blues. Like, I mean, I was seeing Lettuce. They were Berkeley cats and playing around town, and Soul Live. And there was so many great bands in that little scene. But it was pretty small. You know, Boston's not that big of a city, and the music scenes, each one is, you know, pretty close knit and small. So most of my friends knew of Susan back then. But we were not friends, although I would like to be.
Right?
That's cool. Why don't we get into a little bit of the recaps, and we could go over to Paige there and tell me about I guess the Reno show. So you drove over. How long was the drive, and what was the journey over there like, and the vibe getting there? I'll let you kind of paint the picture, get into the venue, and then tell me. We'll get into the show.
Yeah. So Reno's like a hometown show for me. Reno's only 40 minutes from Lake Tahoe. I was just down there today to run errands. The Grand Sierra is a hotel down there. Yep, that's the poster. I got one of the posters. The Grand Sierra is a big hotel down there. It was originally built in the 70s as the MGM Grand. It was considered one of the largest casinos when it was built, and it has like 100 bowling alleys and 3 movie theaters. They've got an old school style casino showroom that when it was built was considered the largest stage. They used to have this show called Hello Hollywood Hello, and they would bring out a 737 at the end of the show. So it's like a massively deep stage. It's huge. A few years ago, they renovated the theater, and they took out all of the old school casino booths with tables, you know, picture like Elvis playing there or something. They took all those out and they put in theater seats, and then down in the pit they put in a general admission for some of the shows. So excuse me, I got there last year. I showed up so early that I told the lady, hey, I'm in line for the show, and she looked at me like I was crazy because it wasn't for like 2 hours. But you know, it's a general admission show, and I gotta be in the front. So this time I tried to, you know, tone it down a little. I showed up at 5:30. They had opened the doors to the lobby from the casino. People were in line, kind of ran up, you know, got in line with everybody. And they opened at exactly 6 o'clock. And I ran down, and they said, oh, you need a bracelet, you know, to get in. So I ran back, got my bracelet, ran back down. I got down there. There was nobody there. I put my stuff on the rail. There was a couple other diehards that showed up. And so we camped out while, you know, waiting for the Little Feat to come out. Little Feat was an opener on this one. And they came out and they played, I guess, like a 45-minute set or an hour set. Maybe they did Dixie Chicken and Spanish Moon. They played a new song off their blues album, a blues tune. It was high energy. They were really good. No sit-ins, no guest, you know, no guest sit-ins, nothing like that. They really quickly changed out the stage, you know, got rid of the Little Feat stuff, brought in the TTB stuff. And the stage was kind of dark, so I saw Derek escorting Susan in. And yeah, and then they just got right into it. You know, when you see the band a lot, you sometimes catch a little bit of a feeling. You know, I kind of got like a little soul feeling from them. Like, I don't know. Well, you know, we never know what's going on. They're human just like us.
What kind of feeling did you say?
Like a solemn, like a little bit of a, just kind of a not super high energy, just, you know, like I almost thought that maybe they had just gotten some bad news or something had happened, or, you know, I don't know. Like I just kind of got a little feeling that there might have been something going on, but they're professionals. So, you know, they just stepped right up into it. And that first song, I was trying to find the list of the first song. That first song, like Susan had a great solo, Playing with My Emotions.
Yeah, is this good? Here, I got it pulled up.
Yeah, she just kicked right in and did a really great solo with that. And I feel like there's a revised set list and then there's the published set list, because they did like this big instrumental of Ramble On from Led Zeppelin.
Was it Ramble On, or was it What Is and What Should Never Be? People were debating that a little bit.
I thought it was, yeah.
It was from Led Zeppelin too. It was super cool. Either way, it was
yeah.
It was before Do I Look Worried, like leading into that, or this set list that I'm sharing is from the band's social media, so I don't know whatever version that is. Yeah, exactly.
And I sent you a picture on Facebook chat of a photo that I got of the set list that they had, you know, on the stage during the show.
Yeah, let me grab that also. I see, and you got the poker chip too. That's cool.
Which looks exactly the same. Oh yeah, they were handing out poker chips.
I got one too.
I didn't see that at Berkeley. I didn't see that in Portland. I didn't see that anywhere else. So I was really excited that I got a poker chip. I was like, yes.
What color did you get?
Black.
Nah, me too. Nice.
Yeah.
I don't think the chips are something. It's not like you go to a baseball game and the first 25,000 get this bobblehead. It's more something I think that staff is just floating around venues at shows and just kind of handing out randomly. Is that the kind of the vibe?
So they had us go through scanning your ticket, and then they had us go through like a metal detector, and the person who scanned my ticket gave me the chip.
Right. It can be at the entrance too, I guess. I don't know. Random.
Yeah,
that's a pretty one.
Yeah, I love this one with the heart. At the bowl, they were right out front with little boxes before you went through anything, like almost on the sidewalk.
Yeah. So cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
It's funny. I want to go back to something you said just before I forget that Mary said about scheduling your flights around family like that. I suppose it's not a complete accident or coincidence that the last several times I've been back east to Long Island to New York has been around the same time or at the same time as Beacon shows.
Right?
Yeah. So
I mean, you might
there's
as
something
well.
to that. There's something to that.
Yeah.
I was going to ask Paige, what about the crowd, the vibe at Reno? Did you feel like it was a destination show? Was it a lot of locals? Was it were they into it? Were they quiet? Were they sitters, standers? Tell me about the crowd a little bit.
So they have like a good sized general admission pit, and definitely there were some folks that came out for Little Feat. You know, there was a guy standing next to me during Little Feat. You could tell he was there for Little Feat. But Tahoe is like got a really vibrant music community. There's a lot of deadheads that settled here when Jerry had his coma. And in general, we just get a lot of East Coasters that have moved here. A lot of Allman Brothers fans, a lot of Grateful Dead fans, a lot of, just good music fans. And we have a really vibrant scene here. We get a lot of music. I'm less than a mile from the Crystal Bay Casino, which gets a lot of music. So we have a lot of music fans here. So a lot of people I know, mostly guys, came down for the show. I saw a lot of my ski buddy friends that were without their wives out for the night having a good time. So there was definitely a good crowd there, really good crowd. Like I was getting a lot of promotion on my social feed, and I don't know if that's because I live in the area or they were trying to sell tickets, but it looked like a great crowd. Like at one point I turned around and it was, all the way out to the door. So yeah, and people were stoked. People were just fired up. They were having such a great time.
Yeah, I know. It's funny because it's the place is Reno, Nevada, but it's really they're drawing a region of people from Northern California essentially in that whole area to the show. It's not as off the beaten path of a show as it might sound when you say Reno, Nevada. It's not that random.
Like Reno's maybe, it's like an hour from Quincy, which is where the High Sierra Music Festival is, which Tedeschi trucks have played at the High Sierra Music Festival. And so is Panic and Fish. And, it's got a really vibrant jam band community around here. TTB's also played in South Shore at a big showroom down there. So, they have a following here. And I have friends locally who, just like you guys, strategically plan their trips back home to Boston and New York to see music at the Beacon.
Mm-hmm.
I like Reno. I've been to Reno. I'm down with Reno. No doubt.
Reno's great.
It's come up a lot in the years. It used to be kind of a high cowboy town, and now it's kind of a, fleece wearing Burning Man, skier, kayaker kind of place.
They have a lot of great public art.
Yes. Yeah. Definitely the presence of Burning Man has done a lot to bring Reno up and change the vibe around here.
Interesting. Is this your set list page that you got, or is this one you?
So that was what they handed out after the show. They gave it to some gal that I was standing next to, so I took a shot. I don't really.
Oh, okay.
I don't like set lists. I've got plenty of pieces of paper around the house. I'm good.
Nice. Yeah. No. So this is accurate, I think.
Yeah. Well, they don't show the Zeppelin Jam though.
What's that?
They don't show the Zeppelin Jam.
Yeah.
I think I saw the Zeppelin Jam on setlist.fm. Maybe that's where you're remembering it from too.
Yes. Yeah, they definitely played an instrumental Zeppelin Jam.
Well, I'll get the confirmation of what what it was this weekend. Yeah. One of us will try to. We can ask.
Being like, what?
Find Bobby or whoever has the insight.
And forth and the competitive guitar playing, which was great, and Susan was definitely on fire. Like she came out with a fire. She was playing hard. It was good.
It's interesting.
I love him gives her that look where he's just like, okay, like she's getting after it, and he just looks at her like, all right, there was that going on.
It never gets old, and it's authentic, and we talk about this like every single episode is like those looks and that it keeps things fresh and spontaneous literally on the stage. For the band themselves. It's not just like us, the fans, getting enjoyment out of the spontaneity and them showing off for each other, essentially.
Yeah. No, I think a little bit of like, oh yeah, try this. Oh yeah, watch this. It's great.
Paige, I love it that you like to be all the way up front and like to watch the emotions of the band. Like I love that as well. I struggle with so many venues that do not have a GA section, which not to like get into the whole sit or stand thing, but just like I do like to stand and I like to be up front and I'm a dancer, but I am also trying to be respectful. So last night I was like way up in the back for most of the show because the crowd was sitting a lot. But I love watching the band's reactions and their facial expressions and their, eye contact with each other. That's with any band. I love to watch that.
Yes.
Yeah, it reminds me that getting closer should be a goal. Just because you get that is such a big part of the show. Sometimes I like to convince myself, oh, if as long as I'm in the venue, I can hear the music, I'm happy. But it does make it more special when you can see the band giving each other eye contact, and maybe even occasionally yourself in the audience as well. That's fun too for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I love it when they're, Derek, like he's looking around and he's like, okay, your turn, and he gives the approving smiles, or he gives the, okay, that surprised look when someone just tears it up, and, he's like, all right, cool. It's all that nonverbal communication is really cool.
Kirk Anderson, Kirka asks, how was Soul Sacrifice? Wanted to see that in the Pacific Northwest, but never got it. Yeah, 1 out of every 10 I Want More has gone into a Soul Sacrifice as opposed to the Bex Bolero, it seems like. Okay. So you were lucky to get that Santana. Yes. That was cool. It's always a groove.
I've seen that. I think they did it at the Fox when they recorded the Oakland show at the Fox. I think they did a Soul Sacrifice there. I've definitely seen it previously. It was a surprise. I feel like, there was no tease. They kind of just, all of a sudden it was just like, okay, are we ready? Okay.
Yeah.
Boom. And
I could almost, whatever Derek plays, I think before that is like a little bit different than when they go into Soul Sacrifice. You can kind of sense when he's might be going. I mean, everyone's always guessing, when you're at the show or listening or whatever. It's like trying to guess what's coming next. And there seems like there was some surprises. Part of me and an encore is kind of is different. You don't see that. That's what I've been saying for years and years and years, that to some degree you can really pick their set list out of a hat. Any one of their songs could truly be an encore song, and pretty much all of them maybe even have or a high percentage of bands can't say that. You have to play. Well, it's a lot. I guess some bands have big catalogs, but not every band can really literally, pick their songs out of a hat, and anything could be an encore.
I was surprised to see Soul Sweet Song so far down in the set. I thought they were going to open with it. I definitely thought they were going to play it, but when they didn't open with it, I was kind of surprised. And again, like that Midnight in Harlem, they did a tease, like a really subtle Pascawan tease. And they also did they did another little tease in there too. There was a couple different things throughout the night that, I felt like they were I felt like almost like we were privy to a rehearsal session or something. There was some moments where they kind of just were playing with little stuff, dropping a little notes here and there. Kind of one of these songs they did, I think they did it in a higher key than they normally did or normally do. I remember thinking there's something about the way they're doing this song this time that is different. And I think they might have been in a different key, or they changed the tempo. That was somewhere just before. It might have been Any Day or Made Up Mind. I feel like they did it in a different key. Caravan was a huge hit. There's a lot of classic rock fans around here. So to get, the Zeppelin, the Caravan, and the Soul Sacrifice, people were just losing their minds. I had friends coming up to me I see why you've been to so many of these shows. That was so phenomenal. I'm ready to go on tour, they were just. And for me, having seen so many of these shows, like you and I were talking about last week, there are shows that I feel they just start to levitate. The roof just comes off. The whole place is just you're all just, the whirlybirds just lifting up. And that didn't quite happen in Reno. There was certainly some incredible solos, and there was some great energy, and there was some great back and forth. For me, it never really got that lift off that we see at the big shows like the Greek or the Beacon or whatever. But for my friends who do not see them a lot, they were fucking blown away. they were just like, I don't know what you're talking about. This was the most incredible thing ever. I was like, yeah, it was a 9 out of 10, like.
Yeah, from snippets, and little bit I've heard, it's like are continuing. Derek's continuing in the band, and even the drummers, like how they go into songs and the intros, and continuing to experiment with the set list orders, what can be an encore. And we'll talk more about that, like how they get into all the songs. They just constantly like keep you on your toes and keep each other on their toes and whatnot for sure.
Yeah. Oh, and we got a Bell Bottom Blues. Phenomenal. Beautiful. We got one of those up in Portland, but that was great.
To speak to the tempo thing, I actually listened to the Playing With My Emotions, the studio recording on I Am the Moon, and it is at a way slower tempo. And I don't know if there's I mean, maybe I'm just thinking about it because they're playing it a lot and I happened to listen to it very recently. But I don't know if there's a bigger jump in tempo between those two songs from what's on the album versus what they're playing live. And I know that like I guess it's just natural. Like almost every song, I guess, ends up being playing more up tempo live than on the album. I don't know if it's the adrenaline or it's almost maybe when you know the song better, you can play it faster. And when 12 people know the song better and they have adrenaline, it's like inclination to play it play it faster. Even I remember reading like Slash's biography, and I think he was talking about like you can't play until you can play the riff perfectly slowly. You can't play it. You can never try it fast. Obviously, you have to be able to play it perfectly slowly. But like with each passing time this band plays the song, I think they're just getting more and more into it. I mean, it'd be interesting. Like I do that, but I haven't done it with this song. Like to even hear what the first time they started to bring this song out onto the road, like what was the tempo at versus what is they're playing. Playing With My Emotions at these days. It's probably even faster than when they first brought it, more upbeat than when they brought it on the road. That's just part of the fun with this band is seeing how like songs evolve. And you just don't get that with other bands. I don't even listen. I mean, is there anything even comparable with other bands? I know there's obviously jam bands who have big catalogs and things like that, and their fans love them. But does any band grow with their songs in a way this band does, if that makes sense?
I think so. I mean, we were talking a little about it last week where, do people get bored playing that hit over and over again? And I think to make it interesting for them, they want to throw some variety in there and change the key, change the tempo, change it around a little bit while still kind of maintaining that integrity to the song that people are looking to hear, like Midnight. Everybody was so stoked to hear Midnight.
That's such a testament to them, and I don't know how they do it, especially Derek's playing in his solos, because every solo is different. Every Midnight solo is different, but like the current one sounds like the correct one, and especially sounds the correct one if you happen to be able to chance to listen to it the next day. Like it's like, oh yeah, that phrasing by Derek sounds logical, perfectly emotional, amazing. Like yeah, that makes sense. But every other version is totally different. It sounds correct and is as emotionally stirring and moving, and every band has that same sort of ability.
And some Midnights, like I say, some Midnight jams just you can feel the whole building just coming off the hinges. And this one was, I mean, awesome, but again, not that same intensity. We were not levitating as can happen at their show.
That's because y'all are too laid back in Northern California. Too many hippies. You go to the Beacon, you have a whole different vibe in the Northeast, Philly, Chicago, or maybe some other places.
Yeah, I'm spoiled.
But yeah, it's funny how you talk about the general admission, because between conversations with you guys and other fans over the years, I think we, the fans, have solved and offered the correct best solutions to every single question and issue this band may have, basically, and general admission being one of the things that just fans want to see more of. And I think not just general admission in the front, I think general admission in the back, like have more general admission for like the most hardcore fans, and have general admission for like the college kids, the younger people, people who might be willing to or able to spend as much money. Like yeah, I think maybe they can find that happy medium. Easier said than done, says,
just split
says
it
the
right
podcast guy. What's that?
That's it. Split it down the middle. One side's for sit, one side's for stand.
That's what who was saying? Was that you? You were
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh yeah,
about,
I've been saying that for years. Like it just makes sense, right? Like
Yeah.
a-
You buy
I
either
don't-
a standing ticket or a sitting ticket.
Yeah.
I think the standers should be able to be on the right so that we can see Derek and Susan, and the sitters on the left, they get Derek's back.
I think there's too many flaws in this thing. It sounds good, but I think someone smarter than me can poke holes in it quicker. This
I mean,
idea.
everything will get a hole poked in it. So
Oh yeah, especially if you speak public. Well, not even speak public, but maybe more post publicly or post on.
Did you see this?
People
Sorry, did you see this letter that's going around on one of the social feeds? Like, I can't tell if it's a satire or if it's real, but somebody posted a letter that's like from the Paramount, like telling them they're in violation of the standing and dancing rule and they're never allowed back.
Sounds like satire.
yeah, I think that wasn't that the. It sounds like it was taken from the. Was it MGM from the Sphere, the bong hit guy that got banned from all of their venues?
Yeah,
that's not me, by the way.
I'm sorry.
Making sure people know.
Have you made it to the Sphere? Because
no, I have not. Have you guys?
I went
No.
for you too. It was amazing. Amazing.
TTP would be good there. I wouldn't get nauseous. I don't really know much about it. I've watched a few videos about
There was only one, like, I don't want to call it a video, but a particular visual that I didn't get nauseous, but like if I looked at like almost like the horizon, I was getting a little dizzy. But like most of the show was just so incredible. It was, and that was for you too. I mean, that's not even Fish or Dead and Company visuals. So
yeah, you know where I'd like to see TTB? At the bar up the street from me at Ireland's 32 on that small stage here in the valley here. That would be cool. I don't know if the stage can necessarily fit them, but that would be cool to see them at a bar. So I always think of them still kind of like a bar band, a party band, but just the best of that genre. Amazingly best at the genre. A virtuoso bar band.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Certainly.
I think they could be really good at the Sphere. This guy Chris Smartovich used to do all the liquid light shows for the Allman Brothers Band. All the water with the images.
Yeah,
he toured with them for years, and I'm sure he would love the opportunity to do a Sphere oil and water.
Wow, I don't even know if that would. I mean, I'm sure they could figure it out, but it's so technical what they're doing with the Sphere. Like, I don't know if that would even work, but who knows? Let's try it.
There's a lot of fans there last night who have been to Dead and Company at the Sphere and been to Fish at the Sphere, who were at the show last night. And I think people were saying that they feel like Fish visually put on a better show at the Sphere than Dead and Company, but maybe they were just on better drugs.
It all comes down to taste, I guess, who you like more. I mean, ultimately, who you're big a fan of, I imagine, has the most impact. Should we talk about Santa Barbara a little bit? I think we should probably get into that show. I think I got a picture of the venue here from above.
The venue's so gorgeous.
Yeah.
Random
yeah.
photo here. I've been there, I think 2015 or 16 when Sharon Jones and Wheels of Soul.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I have not been there in a long time. So I left work yesterday. I work in the Valley in Van Nuys, and I just got on the road and drove straight up there. So I did not get there early. I actually came in during Little Feat's set, which I wasn't upset about missing because I'm going to see them the next 3 nights. So
it's the same.
I just had to get there. And that was the other thing. I bought a ticket last minute. It was kind of up in the air if I was going to go to Santa Barbara. So I was able to snag a $15 ticket the night before, all the way in the back, like totally in the back. But I figured, I just got to get in. And for me, usually, like I was saying earlier, I move around, and I try not to be in the way, and I'm not obnoxious, but like I like to move around, and like when I'm by myself, like I'm small, you know. But with the poster, I was like, I can't really maneuver the way I usually do. So I just posted up in the back against the little brick wall or rock wall, whatever. And I was good there for a little while. Although definitely, like you were saying, how, college kids in the back, there was a lot of those, which is great to see them at these shows. Of course, Santa Barbara is a college town, so there were quite a few there. And but a lot of them were talking for a lot of the show. And it wasn't a huge problem, but noticeable, but again, we were in the way, way, way back, but I was able to move up by the end. But it was one of the first things I noticed was they started with Here My Dear and went into Fall In, and I was like, oh, I wonder if they're playing Crescent. And they eventually did, not all in a row, but they played the full album of Crescent. And I was thinking, like, wow, they haven't been to Santa Barbara in a while, and I don't remember the last time that they like played the full album of Crescent, but I remember like I guess it was 2 years ago, 2022, they were doing that a lot. So I was thinking, oh, I wonder if they were, just giving the Santa Barbara crowd kind of like the last 2 years of a of a set list.
That is a great observation, and I 100% agree. And I didn't pick up on that they played the whole Crescent. And I think that this is definitely quite some time since they've been to Santa Barbara. I don't know if I was there the last time, but typically, not only do I remember the shows I've been to, I remember the shows I feel like I could have or should have or maybe wanted to go to as well. So if they went to Santa Barbara and I didn't go in the last few years, I feel like I probably would have remembered if there were dates. Maybe I missed one or two.
No, you're probably right, because if you said the last time you were there for them was with Sharon Jones, that was 2015. And I'm not positive, but I think I heard Susan say that it had been 9 years since they had been there. So that would make sense.
Look at us.
Right.
On top of it.
Big brains. Big brains.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, just, for me, like, I love circles, and I was so stoked to hear that. And then I have noticed that just in the last few shows that are up on archive, they're not always playing Pasquan after circles, so it was nice to hear that.
I had a feeling it was going to be there if they did the whole circles intro to this, just because, again, like that vibe, the show had a vibe we haven't been here in a while vibe.
Right.
I'm just looking at the set list.
Right.
I don't have that 2015 set list up in front of me, but just looking at it, like 75-80% of the songs were 100% not played there, and a lot of them are like the originals. Like like just obviously Just Won't Burden is a Susan Tedeschi song, but they weren't playing that at that time, I don't think, live at all. Obviously all the I'm the Moon stuff, I don't think Done Somebody Wrong was a regular song in the rotation at that time. It Ain't Fair obviously is new. Signs hadn't even come out yet.
Right.
Maybe I Wish I Knew and Leaving Trunk, like Involuntary Slavery, could have been played, but I'm not sure. So the people in Santa, like, they do that. Like I think I pretty much we've fans, and I've confirmed that, like, they do look back on what did we play the last time we were here. That it's not the only thing that factors into set list, but it certainly does.
Yeah.
No, definitely.
Do other bands do that too? Are they as detailed about their set list? If of the bands that switch their set lists up regularly, of the bands that have the same every night, they don't give a shit what they played 3 years ago in Akron. But to maybe like Fish or Pearl Jam or these types of bands.
Warren does in Government Mule. I know Warren will look at what he's previously played the last performances, and so he doesn't come out and play the same show again.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. That's why I'm here, is because everything is so fresh every day. That's why I'm going to all the shows this weekend, and feel like I probably could have, should have, would have might have wanted to go last night. And Phoenix Tuesday. I shouldn't say that I'm going to be sick on. No, I'm not going to Phoenix, but I could, maybe I'll mysteriously get sick and show up in the. It's going to be too hot. It's too hot.
I think you should. I think you definitely should do that.
That's too hot. Is it? Oh, it's an evening. Is it an evening with? I think Tuesday might be an evening with in Phoenix.
Yeah, you should go.
I could be mistaken about that, and sometimes that changes.
Tuesday.
What's that?
Tuesday
in Phoenix.
Wow.
Or is it Wednesday? I don't know. I think it's Tuesday.
Either way, you should go. Yeah.
Of course. Tell me about whatever jumps out at you. I mean, the Monkey Man. Hopefully.
I'm so excited to hear that.
No audio technical difficulties with Mike
no
on this
audio
one. Mike's Mike.
I feel like it's gonna be better. Like it's still not there yet.
I kind of feel the same a little bit.
It's super cool that Susan's playing a little bit of slide for that like breakdown in that song. But like, and not that I'm going to compare her to Derek, because you can't compare anyone to Derek, but like, she seemed a little bit timid and quiet like that. The slide, like it was quiet. But I think I think they're just, if they play it more, like it's going to be great. It's just so new and it's a little different, I think, for them, but I love that song. And I was really happy to hear that.
It's funny because this is almost I think it's a very challenging song. And I was saying before, it's an unexpected Stones cover, and Mike is always choosing. I'm guessing this is the person singing probably the biggest influence on the song choice. So for Mike to pick an outside the box Stones song is not super, super duper surprising, but it does seem we talk about the band capturing the spirit of the song, but also making it their own and whatnot. I feel like the more challenging part for the band has almost been some of the guitar parts, like capturing the spirit of this. They're doing a great job and it's amazing. And I'm so happy they're playing this, but I think as we're talking about, there is some room to grow, especially with some of the guitar parts, arrangements, the jams, the rhythmy parts and whatnot, compared to Mike, who really, I think is like with the vocal, he's got it. And he's not afraid to do those Mick Jagger falsettos and making them own, and totally like you have to commit to it. Like you have to like I can make a lot of stand-up comedy references. Like you have to like commit to the bit. If you're half into it, like it's not going to work. Like he can't like go half-ass especially those big falsetto parts and outros. You can't half-ass and half effort those. Otherwise it's going to be like a parody, an impression to some degree, a karaoke version. But it never is that. It's never that way with Mike. And in fact, I feel like it's the opposite. And I keep touching on how he like sings and even moves on the stage effortlessly. And I love how that's, he brings his own style. Like, you have the stoic people in Tedeschi Trucks, the more stoic people. You have the people who are dancing, and you have like the in-betweens. Like I feel like it's Susan, Kebby, and Elizabeth are the most like sort of demonstrative, some of the more demonstrative people. Then you have like Gabe is kind of like in between vibe, chill, but also kind of getting into it at times more. And then you have the Brandons and the Derricks more on like the stoic end. It's like they really kind of complement each other's like personalities and not just like musical abilities.
I love
rant.
I love being in a spot in Reno where I could actually see Brandon. Usually I'm like seeing his back because I always like to be on that side of the stage where, I can see Derek's guitar. But it was nice to see Brandon like smiling and to see some of his enthusiasm for the material, which is unusual for me to see that, because he's, like you said, he's kind of just, he's a quiet cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a little reserved. He's a really, really nice guy. I've been able to meet him a couple times. Nice. Really sweet.
Yeah.
Same. I'm sure part of that must be, obviously we gather it's, it's personality. We're not judging that, obviously. But I think, as the youngest person in the band, I think there is something to that as well, not trying to be the center of attention or even in any way. So I think those two things are certainly factoring factoring into to his stage, presence, demeanor, and all that. But again, like Mike just comes effortlessly. It seems like.
Yeah.
He's a performer.
Man, and I've been enjoying the solos that I've heard him getting over this tour. He hasn't gotten a solo maybe every night, but maybe probably every other night or so he's getting some amount of shine and some capacity, and that's super cool. Like bringing the funkiness to the band.
Yeah. He got one song in Reno. Alicia did not get a song in Reno.
All right, we got It Ain't Fair, which so good. And I got to see that at the Beacon show that I went to. So I've now been able to see that twice, and oh my God. And of course, the crowd loves her so much.
Yeah.
And she's just incredible. I love the back and forth between her and Derek. It's just
so yummy.
Yeah.
I have to stop what I'm doing when the band goes into that song, whether I'm listening or watching or whatever I'm doing in my day. It's just so like it really grabs you, and it's almost like grabs me in a similar way, and a feeling like listening to the Allman Brothers, Not My Cross to Bear. when that song goes in, you kind of have to really stop everything you're doing, I feel like, and
just powerful.
Yeah.
You got to witness.
Mm-hmm. What else with last night? I love I Want More. Love it so much. Yeah. I saw that on the Greek live streams.
This is from this is last night, but yeah. But yeah, you can on the live stream sometimes you could of course spot a set list, a visible set list. I try to avoid that. No.
I don't want to know.
No spoilers.
Yeah.
But I guess it makes sense that they can't have it on their phone.
How do the drummers even see that? Like, how can they see that? It's behind them.
They probably have others on the floor, and maybe that is not even for them. That could be for people walking behind, potentially. Oh, look at me, smart. What else we got? What else should we cover? I can pull up the set list to see if anything else jumps out at you. I just had it up on the drums, I guess, but this is clear. I think we're gonna get more Monkey Man on this tour.
Does Mary know we can't hear her? Can you hear her?
No, Mary, are you muted right now? Maybe so. I don't know. I think that's weird. You hear me though, Paige, right?
I do.
That's good. I'm gonna read this comment until Mari fixes her audio. I don't know why we can't hear you, Mari, for some reason. Although it says you're not muted. But Kirka says, meanwhile, check out Alicia on the Warren Hayes band, Man in Motion CD. She's not as strong as she is now, but you get to see the beginnings of what you see now. Mari, we can't hear you. She's still talking though. It's going to be a mystery. I don't know if she could hear us either.
Can you chat her?
Yeah, I'm going to try to do that. But yeah, this was just sounds like a couple of stellar shows for sure the last couple of nights. What's your next show?
Right now, I don't have anything on the books except for that Eric Clapton show at the Hollywood Bowl in October, which I bought tickets for. I'm super excited. I've never been to the Hollywood Bowl. So I was actually looking for tickets for Sydney on Ticketmaster when the pre-sale for Clapton came up, and I was like, okay. And so I'm sure I will go see something before then. I'm going up to Portland to see the Portland Blues Festival, which is going to be Charlie Hunter, Ben Harper, Lucinda Williams, Green Sky Bluegrass. They've got a great lineup, 3 days on the river in Portland. So that'll be fun for 4th of July. And knowing me, I will probably end up going to another TTB show at some point. when I figure out something that fits in with my schedule. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
You got
Yeah.
the flight. You got the flights. You
I
got
got that
flight.
flying
You got
thing
potential. You got potential flight options for you. You're gonna have super great time at the Hollywood Bowl. That's a special historic venue to go to, certainly. And I'm guessing it's one of those events where you could pretty much bring anything you want into the venue, depending on if it's. I would look into that if it's a leased event or if it's a Hollywood Bowl event. I forget what those terms even mean, but who controls the vending, I guess, has to do with. But you can literally bring in like coolers and I think bottles and alcohol. Yeah, and as much food as you want. I could look that up. Right, I should look that up. Now I'm curious. But yeah, that's definitely a big part of the Hollywood Bowl culture is sort of the pre-gaming, picnicking before, and then bringing your stuff in there.
Bringing your 5-star Michelin catered picnic basket.
Oh, I'm sure certainly people do, and especially in the lower bowl areas and like whatever people with a lot of the wine and cheeses. And that I guess that's also part of because they have the what do you call it? The Philharmonic. They have a lot of classical concerts there. So there is there is a wine there is a bit of a wine and cheese.
There's a bougie side to it.
Yeah. A what?
A bougie side.
Yeah, depending on where you sit. But it's a pretty big I think it's pretty big. Like people don't think of it as a big venue, but I think it's like might be 20,000+. I could be mistaken.
I'm very excited.
Hollywood Bowl 17,000. She's back.
I have no idea what happened.
I don't know. You weren't. Yeah, that was strange. You kept talking, maybe because you probably didn't hear us talking, so you're like, I better keep talking.
Pretty much.
I figured it out.
That happens to me all the time in my life. I just talk to myself anyways. So
join the club. Did you want to mention anything else about the Santa Barbara show? I know I've taken up enough of your guys' time already. I'm gonna pull up the right one.
I mean, I was kind of just rambling about the end of the show. So
you're in the right place for rambling.
Ramble on, ramble on.
Right. Yeah, I don't know where in my ramble that the audio stopped working. So yeah, just kind of saying how the energy really like lifted at the end of the show, and it was really great to see like everyone, the whole crowd, super into it. So
and you had Little Feet joining for leaving. Yeah, I had some pictures of them up there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was cool. I got up to the front like at the end there, and I've always loved Leaving Trunk and Volunteer Slavery, and that was just so good. And Elizabeth with like a nice long solo, and then you mentioned earlier bands playing faster. Well, holy moly, that like the end of Volunteer Slavery just goes so fast. It's crazy to see them all like so tight and playing faster and faster and faster. It's unbelievable.
It's what they do. They rev it up, they bring it down, they bring it to a pen drop, they rev it up to 11. You know, it's
a journey.
Look at this in this photo.
Oh, sorry.
No, I was gonna say, you go on.
They said they did that same encore at the Greek Theater with the Leaving Trunk Volunteer Slavery, and also with like Little Feet and everybody on stage, and same thing, like just got it going. And you could see the guy from Little Feet at one point looking over at Derek and just being like wide-eyed, like, "Whoa, where is this going?" You know, like just,
how are you playing so fast?
I love seeing other performers watching Derek, people who are so accomplished and so talented, and then they have that moment where you can see that they are a fan and that they're in awe of what he's doing, and they're just, blown away, and you're just like, yes, it's so cool.
Yep. Bill Payne, Sam Clayton, Fred Tackett, Kenny Gradney, Scott Sherrard, and Tony Leone. According to the first thing that I Googled pop up, I hope I'm saying all those names correctly. Two things, like looking at this picture that I'm sharing of Derek, playing with Little Feet. I forget how much fun sometimes it is for the band to play with other people, and you always see Derek kind of perk up a lot of the times when they have guests. A lot of us fans want to see an evening with, and we forget how much fun it is sometimes, I think, for the band to play with other people, and it's just fun. It's just fun to see all these different
Yeah.
these combinations of artists on stage, certainly.
Incarnations.
What's that?
All the different incarnations.
Yep. Anything else we should cover, or you guys want to talk about or mention?
I can't wait for the next 3 nights.
Oh yeah, sneak preview.
Yeah.
So
LA,
jealous.
San Diego, LA. I'll be at all 3.
All of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's gonna be super. Yeah, we'll have to connect. We'll connect offline.
Right.
I'll find you before I figure out all my logistical plans.
How far is that drive between LA and San Diego?
I mean, best case scenario, it's like can be 2 hours, but I was even thinking of coming home Saturday night after the show. I think my friend and I decided not to do that. But I've done it before. That late at night, you can get back in a couple hours, but there's usually plenty of traffic. So it could be like 4 or 5 hours if you leave at the wrong time.
She has all the correct information, and I concur with that. Add about 30, 40 for my trip from the valley. Like, yeah, like I was Googling. I was like, doing a little bit of the map. It's like, this could be from 2.5 hours to 4 hours. So like, do I want to get there super early, or do you want to? Yeah, so I'll figure it out what time I'm leaving in the morning. I'm also going to stay not too far away from the venue in the area Saturday night. It's easier. It's less to worry about and deal with. What I was going to ask is, how come maybe we can get a ride back on the bus with the band after the show, because we're going back to LA too. So why they could take us with them? I can take a train down there and then hop on the bus with them back.
That sounds like a good plan. Let's do it.
You wish.
Yeah.
What's that?
Don't you wish?
I imagine they're going to probably leave San Diego shortly after the show Saturday night and get to LA Friday, if not for events, just because, or obligations, just because. Why not? Just to get there early. And I imagine the crew is going to want to gets to the venue fairly early, start setting up.
It's easier to drive in the middle of the night when there's no traffic. It's cooler. It's not as hot. It's better on gas mileage and just the buses. So
So the band doesn't want to get breakfast in the morning with us, or is what you're saying? They're gonna be getting breakfast and they'll be getting near my apartment, probably near where you live, maybe.
They're gonna be sleeping.
Yeah.
Where are they in San Diego?
It's that like Cal State. It's
Cal Coast Credit something Theater. It's on San Diego State.
Union. Yeah.
Okay.
Have you been there, Mary?
No, I have not.
I was there last year or the year before, whenever the hell they were last year. You can tell who's there for TTB and who's there for the college. You can tell right away that the demographics and the crowd, the age difference. But like you were saying, maybe we will get some a fair amount of college students to see it. We'll see what the vibe is like.
I hope so. I like to see that, like as much as there are not all of them, a lot of them are talkers and they get drunk and whatever.
Yeah.
I used to do that too. But it's nice to see a younger crowd. I don't want their, TTB's crowd to just age out and then that's it. You got to have that younger energy.
Yeah.
So I like it.
I wonder if there's something to like parents passing and people passing the music down to generations of that retains fans. Because even
for sure,
bigger box office artists. I was talking to my sister about this the other day, how Billy Joel's concerts are still the shows he does in New York still sell out and get tons of crowds, and thinking about who's going to these shows. And I think it's like a generational thing. Like parents are bringing their kids. So maybe it's like even newer fans could be potentially buy up more tickets ultimately if because they got the music, the music was passed down to them. So we'll see.
Possibly.
I'm definitely looking forward to. You've been to the Greek Theater in LA?
Me?
Yeah, Mari.
Oh, many times. Yeah. The first time I went was the Allman Brothers, the 2 shows in 2009. And yeah, I've been there a lot. I love the Greek. I just wish, if you've noticed, the sound is quieter now because of the new neighbors coming in, so they have sound ordinances where
I
it's
did
not
not
very
know.
loud. Yeah, yeah. Used to be
Interesting.
like normal volume.
Wow.
Now it's quiet.
Wow.
And they have to close earlier. There's all those like new neighbors that are like, let me buy a house right next to a big music venue and then complain about it. So
is it like the Hollywood Bowl? Does it have houses like above it or something?
yeah, kind of.
It
I
has
mean,
more
it's in
houses
Griffith,
probably around it, yeah, than
it's
even
in
the bowl
Griffith
does.
Park, so it's not
Oh, yeah.
right there, but it's they're close enough. There's a neighborhood like right down the street. So yeah.
Some of my favorite experiences, like the venue wise, have been at the Greek Theater for TTB shows, just because I can't speak to any specific example, but I just remember kind of like the vibe of the staff, like just I remember I enjoyed them more, the staff and like the people who work there, and just like the operations seemed very
They've got it down. Yeah.
They
Yeah,
weren't
and
like
yeah, I think you're right. The staff is pretty good. They're nice, they're considerate. They're not like a bunch of jerks. So
it's nice to go to a show where you feel like the people working at the show don't hate you and they don't look at you like you're doing something wrong or you're going to do something bad until proven otherwise, which I feel like you get that vibe sometimes, like going into public events. Like I get there has to be some amount of security, but there's almost like sometimes, and I could speak broadly to this in other parts of our culture and society, where it's like you feel like you're doing something wrong. It's like, I haven't done anything. Why is this like, why are you being like up my, I don't know.
Yeah.
Down the sidewalk. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, on that note, I'm sure it's going to be an amazing weekend. I can't wait. Oh, maybe you want to come on and recap that one. We could talk about that. I'm planning that one for Monday. We'll see. I might ask some friends. I might see who else is going. I'm kicking around some ideas, but we can
I'm
talk
sure there's
more
a
about.
lot of people, going, but
You'd be surprised, May. I feel like I know more TTB fans in other cities. I was struggling a little bit to locate you, to find someone who was going to like Santa Barbara, which is not all that
you found
far.
me.
Yeah. It's kind of an not off the beaten path, but it's not a show like compared to others where it's like you see a million people posting a lot about, like, I don't know, for whatever, I guess, yeah, it's a place that
it's got proximity to LA, and anybody who, they probably have to make a decision. Am I going to go to LA or am I going to go to Santa Barbara? And I think people probably choose the Greek over.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially where the Greek's on the weekend. Santa Barbara was a weeknight. Although I did meet a couple of guys last night from LA, and but they were great. They were hardcore. Like they used to go to the Beacon every year for the Allman Brothers, and they were telling me their whole stories. But they're like, oh yeah, we come up here and we take the train. I didn't even know there was a train to Santa Barbara, and they stay overnight and everything. So that was fun to run into them. Yeah.
I forget trains are an option sometimes in California, in
Right?
Southern California, and a fun option. I don't know if they're the most cost effective, but if you have time and you want to do something interesting, there's a bar car, there's a food car. You don't have to drive. You don't got to worry about it.
Right.
Maybe it makes some stops where you can have a
never
smoke
have
or something
time.
like that. Yeah, yeah, exactly. My friend had this funny idea, crazy idea, where we were gonna. I'm not really gonna go off topic. Where we were gonna try to go to a Dodgers game, an Angels game, and a San Diego Padres game, all in one day, and only take trains to the games. And it could be done if you have a 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and 7 o'clock game. You just can't see all three entire games to make it work. But it could be done technically.
But you know who would want to join you in that aspiration is Derek, because he's a big baseball fan.
Right, and that's why I don't feel too badly about, like, sometimes when some of these, I make a fair amount of sports analogies. I was almost going to put on the Mavericks Celtics game in the background, but you could see the reflection in some of these. Oh, they were up big. They were up big. What was this? It was like, what was the score? They're probably won by many, many points at this point, I'm guessing. I could be wrong. Let's see here. Now
I
we're
even
really
told you that when you reached out, I was like, well, I was supposed to watch the Celtics.
right. Well,
That
they're
was
up
my plan
25.
for tonight.
Well, they're up 25 points right now. So I'm gonna go. I'll let you go and enjoy the rest of that victory. Dallas is not coming back in the game. They probably benched all or took all their starters off the floor anyway. But yeah, so Derek and Susan and the band, they're pretty sporty people. Just like from Derek was a very good baseball player, from what I understand, growing up. Is Virgil Trucks, his other uncle, I think, played in the Atlanta Braves and the system and all that. Right.
Like
and you've seen the ping pong and all this. Yeah.
Pro baseball, like from the 20s or something. I don't know.
Yeah. He's good at sports and guitar. What the hell, man?
Right. Well, even Susan too. Susan's a big fan.
Right.
And you know, dedicated Sugary to Bill Walton last week when he passed. And you know, she's from Boston. She's a big Celtics fan too. So
they're well-rounded people and they're a well-rounded band, and that comes out like, you know, in their personalities and performances, and just, you know, the cool stuff the band shares on social media is always fun to get a little glimpses. Like I was saying, the Sun Soul Surf Soul Sand, you see the band hanging out and whatever, playing ping pong, throwing footballs around, baseball.
Yeah. Did either of you go to that?
No.
I did not.
I might have to go next year if they do it again.
I promised I would publicly on the podcast, so I guess I have to now. Oh man.
I mean, they did Byron Bay this year, so I did that instead. But if I hadn't done that, then maybe I could go to Florida.
Yeah, I mean, just from talking to fans, that was the greatest experience, like from a customer service standpoint, that anyone has ever talked about at a Tedeschi Trucks Band show or event. It's not just because it was centered around Tedeschi Trucks Band. This happened to be like the operation was the most friendly, well ran. It was the opposite of arriving and you feel like they hate you. You felt like you were totally catered to. And like we were talking about on that recap, how, you know, it's not free, but like nevertheless, it's like totally above and beyond like what you might expect at a show. And it's really kind of the model. And I think like that's what TTB is maybe trying to do more, is cater to the hardcore fans who are willing to travel and put in time and investment to the band, because like that's where you get the you know, a lot of the revenue, I guess, is from the consistent repeat customers. The subscription model, if you will, is the thing these days. We're working on it on my end. But on that note, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate you. You don't have to hang up as soon as I'm going to put you guys out to do my outro here. Talk for a minute after as well, if you'd like. But thank you again, guys. And I'll see you soon, Mary.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, for sure. Thank you for coming on last minute. I appreciate it.
And Paige, I think we need to be friends. So
I think we do too. Yeah. We're gonna connect.
Yeah.
I love it. If I can play a tiny part in that, like if I played a tiny part, that's cool for me. My goal is to connect with every.
Well, Mary and I are going to Sun Solstice next year together.
Right? Yeah.
We're all going now. We're all gonna be there.
It'd be great.
Okay. Have a good night, guys. Cheers.
Okay. Good night.
You got it. Bye-bye. So there you go. What was that? Episode number 156, recapping Tedeschi Trucks Band in Reno at the Grand Sierra Canyon Resort. Did I just throw the word canyon in there? I may have. And at the Santa Barbara Bowl in Santa Barbara. Thank you, Paige. Thank you, Mary. That was super fun. Such great music fans, Tedeschi Trucks Band fan. What I was about to say was that my goal is to connect with every single Tedeschi Trucks Band fan. Is that not a realistic goal? But we can try. I can try, like, especially the cool ones just the cool ones, the cool people, the best people, all the ones who love the band the most. Like, it can be done. But on that note, hope everyone's doing okay out there. To follow this show, it's at Tedeschi Trucks Podcast on Instagram. TedeschiTrucksPodcast.com will get you to everything related to the show. Subscribe on all the platforms. Give positive reviews on Apple Podcasts. AdamChoik.com is all my personal stuff. TedeschiTrucksBand.com is the band's official website. Buy tickets to shows, buy merch. Check out the tour schedule. More dates have been announced. Tickets are selling this week. I know that's a thing. More dates for the Deuces Wild tour. Join the Swamp Family Club, the app, the Berkeley streamings on Nugs were already worth the the annual dues for that. You got that enough value just in that alone. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I got. Thank you to the band, the crew, again, Paige and Mary and listeners, and everyone in the chat, Kirka, David Flam. Who else we got here? I think maybe that was it. But yeah, I'm gonna planning my recap for Monday to recap the Southern California shows. Can't wait to do that. I'll try to post, a bunch of content from there. We'll see. Yeah, we got a comment here. Y'all have a blast. Looking forward to hear how the shows are. This is Kirk Anderson in the chat. But yeah, I think that's all I got for today for now. Yeah, let's talk soon. Peace. Cool.